You called the police on her, right?
Yeah, only
Why'd you do that?
because I felt threatened, and I'm
In what way?
61 and I'm disabled.
In what way?
In my face yelling. And I have like text messages where she even says she addressed the fact that because she's a fighter, that she would not hit me. I have that in here.
I stated that I would never, I said, I literally love you for real, for real. Y'all will see that. I
It
said, I
says
told
not.
you I would never put my hands on you because she keeps saying, making it seem like I would threaten
Okay,
her.
I have a question about your countersuit, ma'am. Why are you countersuing her for rent?
Because they agreed to pay rent.
They agreed to pay. Do you have any documentation of that?
There's no
Anything in writing?
documentation at all.
When did she stop paying rent?
About February. And it wasn't her, it was him that was paying it.
That's correct.
And she lived in the home through May
Yes.
without paying rent.
Yes.
And how much was the rent?
$400 a month, $100 a week.
So you actually moved out in May?
No, I moved out like the beginning of April. And because the same day that I got fired, when I came home later on that night, she had her landlord serve me with a 30-day eviction.
And you said you moved out the beginning of April?
Yes. I ended up going into a shelter because I haven't been working since then.
I want to understand about the bill, the utilities.
She told me she would pay it. If I have it put in my name, she told me she would pay
Why
it.
was she paying for the utilities at your place?
My brother decided that he wasn't comfortable there. He wanted to move back to Raleigh. At that time, I didn't know that she walked around in panties and T-shirts, and the RG&E was in his name.
Okay.
So she volunteered. I was sitting there muddling over what should I do. So just like when she shared her dilemma, and I just jumped in and assisted, she did the same.
And that she was going to pay for all your utilities?
I'm out of the house like probably 16 hours a day. I work 2 jobs, so I'm barely there.
You work 2 jobs for 16 hours a day but have a home care aide?
Yes, because I'm permanently disabled. However, since I first met her to this day, I made it my business to get back to right. I became self-sufficient, and my jobs were always, take into consideration my ailments, so I didn't have to do any lifting.
Why would she pay for your utilities when this was your place?
We never had a discussion about paying for it. She never asked for any monies. Because, see, at that point, I had to pay the $1,600 rent on my own.
That was your decision to make prior to her moving?
No, it was not, but okay.
What do you mean? That had nothing to do with her.
You were already living there.
You were already living
Oh, yeah,
there.
no, I'm trying to tell you why it is that it should not be expected that I pay her bill. I thought, well, at least that's like,
Why? But
at
why?
least in that
Didn't you
aspect.
invite her to come live with you
Yeah,
because
but-
you knew that she was financially struggling? That's what
She had a job by then. She had a job.
Again, I don't mind doing what I do. I love doing what I do. It's not a job for me, it's a career. I didn't care about keeping her whole house clean. So the only 2 things was I didn't want to put her clothes away and we didn't want to clean up behind her dogs. That's where the issue came in at. Other than that, we were great.
Okay, so we understand you want to play us an audio recording of what?
Of the way that she speaks to me and the hostility.
All right, we're going to go ahead and play it.
I'm trying to get it.
Everything.
That's the beginning. It's 2 more also.
What's your math money? Now you want to make sure I'm moving. Something higher. You are not a true good friend. I sit here, I keep this whole house clean. You say that you appreciate me and you love me. You don't love me and you don't appreciate me. You only love what I do for you. And you would think that your ass, your selfish ass, would sit up there and say, well, damn, she do keep the whole house clean. It's something I could sit up there and do. Me putting my own clothes away shouldn't be no big deal. But because I said you got to put your own clothes away, it's Aide, not made. Now you want to make sure I'm moving. Yeah, I'm moving.
Well, there was more. And
We don't need to hear anymore. We understand.
It's not like she wasn't
All right,
talking
the parties are
crazy, too.
excused while we deliberate in this matter. Thank you both.
We have deliberated and we've reached a unanimous verdict. We're in court here because, Ms. Gamble, you sued a woman that got you a job when you didn't have one and gave you a place to stay when you were desperate for one with your boyfriend. But from the text messages we've seen and from the audio recordings, you were very hostile toward her, and she simply did not want you working for her. Now, your problems with the agency are your problems with the agency. Nonetheless, you are entitled to the money that you dished out for the utility bills. That was not your responsibility. But also, Ms. Mann, you're entitled to some amount of rent. We found that those amounts pretty much are a wash. Therefore, your complaint is dismissed and the counterclaim is dismissed as well. We wish you both luck.
thank
That's
you.
the verdict of the court.